Hi folks, welcome. In a change to the usual programming, we're going to do something a little bit different today. You join me on a very wet and rainy and windy Saturday afternoon. I had planned to do a bit of gardening, but it's just frankly so utterly shitty outside that I'm staying inside, and I thought I would spend some time looking after some of my books, doing a bit of book care. A few weeks back I received a delivery of books from a dealer, and they were all very nicely wrapped in clear plastic wrap. You often see that, it's not unusual, but I've never tried to do that myself. I asked him what the wrap was that he used, and he pointed me to a supplier that he'd used in the past. So I ended up making a little order from a plastic packaging company. So I paid, you buy it by the kilo, I paid for 5 kilos at £4 a kilo, 20 quid, for this enormous roll. I don't know how many metres it would be, but it's a lot because it's quite thin. Probably last me for years. So 20 quid plus there was £15 for it to be couriered, so 35 quid. But I will be able to cover, I'm sure, every single one of the hardbacks that I possess, and certainly the ones that I want to take good care of, and any others that I buy for the next good while as well. So it's pretty good value, I think. And I've been doing a bit of experimentation to see how best to do this, and I think I've got it down. I've got the knack now, I think. So this, I don't know how well you can see that. You can see it's pretty flimsy wrap. It's perfectly good for the purpose that I need it for. Now, apparently 30 microns is the one that you want. It is thin enough to be easy to work with, and thick enough to take a good crease, and a crease is important because you want it to be able to fold. So the tools that we'll be using today, possibly a toothbrush just to give the books a bit of a wipe, just brush all the dust off. Well, it has no bearing on the wrapping, it's just fun to do. And then for this one is a Norman spin rad. The cover is a bit creased. One of the interesting things about this process is it does protect the cover as well, but it also brings them to life a bit, makes them look newer than they actually are, if that makes sense. So what I've been doing is erring on the side of there being a bit more wrap than there is cover, so it overlaps the edge, and it's not an exact science. And then I cut it. Sometimes you can just get it to float through like that, which is always fun. And then you don't need the cover for this bit. I do need the ruler though, because the first thing you do, I tried to do this folding business with the dust jacket inside, and it's just a massive pain in the arse to do. So I discovered that because the cover flapped around all over the place, it makes life very difficult. So I found if you get it to approximately where you want it and approximately horizontal, give it an initial crease with your hand, and then you get like a ruler to really force the edge. And really drive the crease in. I think you can just about see that. So that's staying where it is now. And then it's a simple matter of plonking the cover in. Sometimes a bit of a bother to get it to stay where you want it. It's pretty good. So that it's kind of all the way into the crease. And then sort of holding it down with my wrists, fold the top end over. Hold on a minute, it's getting a bit unruly. There we go. Again, initial crease with the hand, and then get the ruler out to mash it down. That's a technical term. Or at least it is now. Squish it down. And then I'm going to give the bottom one a go just for good measure. And it looks like it's still flapping around quite a bit, but then once you get I find it's easier to introduce the book to the wrapper rather than the wrapper to the book. That's an annoying non-flat bit there. It's just got a bit creased inside the book at some point. If I was a pro, I'd probably iron it or something carefully, but I'm not, so that will just try and make that as flat as I can. Crackle, crackle, crackle. And then that's another crease, that's annoying. And that is Norman, nicely covered. I don't know how well you can see that. It's nice and glossy, makes it look all glossy and shiny. And the thing that this will most help with, aside from keeping the jacket clean, is to stop it getting overly bumped. You often see them with its kind of bumped at the top and the bottom of the spine. This one's not too bad. So that's Bug Jack Baron, which is from, at the risk of turning this into a haul video, 1970, and it is a UK first edition in the McDonald. Very nice it is too, very colourful. What have we got next? Chelsea Quinyabra, I think. And this I found this in a charity shop, and it's a Sidgwick and Jackson first edition from, I don't know when, the late 70s maybe. This is a post-apocalyptic gig. War, disease and pollution have made the earth almost unfit for human habitation. So same again, just measuring, so you can see where this has got a bit bumped. Oh, it's even a bit wet there, look. At the top of the jacket there, a bit mucky as well, just from being out in the world. So that's plenty of wrap. It's probably really loud through the microphone because it's attached via a stand to this desk. Hopefully it's not too annoying. Like I say, it's not an exact science. Right, let's get that initial crease in. First go with the hand and then with the ruler, just to squish it. I've had mashing and squishing now. Maybe it's squishing for the first crease and mashing for the second, I don't know. We're just making it up as we go along. I expect there's an official book curating term for it, but I'm going with mashing and squishing for now. Consider it part of the healthy evolution of the language. I can tell this cover's going to be a bit lively. It's hanging on to its book shape, even though it's been released. So I shall employ the technique of holding it down with my lower arms, my wrists, whilst I do the top. What were we, squishing for the bottom and mashing for the top? I think that was right, wasn't it? So a bit of a initial creasage with the hands, and then the final mashing with the ruler. And I'm just giving it a kind of a 2 or 3 goes. You can't see my handsome visage because I couldn't work out a way of doing this. Oh, look at the dust coming off that. See, that's why you do it, get rid of the dust. So that's a nice, you can see nice blue boards, nice gilt, silver gilt. Can you have silver gilt? I don't know. And this is from, let's see, I think it's from the late 70s, 77, 78, something like that. 79, yeah, well, originally published in the US by Doubleday in 1978, and this, the first UK edition in 1979, in the Sidgwick and Jackson. Very nice it is too. And that's it. And there she is, all nicely wrapped up, protected from the elements. Now this is an interesting one because there are actually 2 covers in here. I think I will just wrap them as if they were one. And there are 2 covers because I'm reliably informed by Mr. Steve Andrews at Outlaw Bookseller that they were incorrectly priced. So the originally published price was $6.25. Can you see that? I can't tell if I'm showing that or not. $6.25 there. Someone realised that was a mistake, and so nearly all the covers were clipped. A sticker put on for $6.95. So for 70p, they butchered a whole load of dust jackets, and so it's quite unusual to find the original. So this has got both for some reason. So the original one, not price clipped, is fairly unusual, I'm led to believe. So rather than doing anything fancy with them, I'm just going to wrap them as if they were one cover. They will both get the protection. The inner one doubly so because it will be protected by the outer price clipped dust jacket. That'll do. My nightmare here would be to accidentally cut a strip off the edge of the dust jacket, so I'm removing it for that reason. Initial crease. So once you get into a rhythm with this, it doesn't take very long. Just smashing. to wonder if I need a different... Should I have a different device for mashing at the top? No, it's like am I smashing with the ruler and mashing with, I don't know, the edge of the scissors or something? I think it can be dual purpose. It seems to work. Doesn't seem to mind if it's mashing or smashing. Oh, right, there we go. I've had this Christopher Priest for a little while now. I can't remember exactly when I bought it. But probably about this time last year. Online, I went through a little phase of looking for Christopher Priests. I can't remember exactly how much this cost me, but it's probably about £10, maybe a little bit more, 12 maybe, just from the guy on Tinterweb on eBay, I think. That'll do. Let's give Christopher a bit of brush. Look at the, I don't know how well you can see the filth coming off of that. It's pretty dirty. It's just dust. I don't know if that contributes in any way to it staving off the yellowing that inevitably happens with the edge of text box. I don't know. Anyway, that's him all neatly wrapped. Job's good. I did about, I don't know, 10 books yesterday as I was perfecting my technique. It has a fantastic old book smell, that one. This is The Dream of Wessex, first edition. From way back when. You can see this one is price clipped, unfortunately, but there's a bit of browning on the top of the dust jacket. This one's in generally pretty good shape. What I'm doing, cutting right. I'm just leaving it with a few millimeters, probably not even a half a centimetre. I don't know what that is in old money. Quarter of an inch, no, not even, an eighth of an inch, something like that. And then the same amount roughly on the other end. Again, like I say, it's not an exact science. Love it when that happens. Get my edge smasher. So, you know, 35 quid, including the delivery for a giant roll of this stuff. Seems like I felt like that was a little bit profligate when I did it, but then I figured, you know, what's that? It's the cost of 3 decent hardback books, probably. Or if they were new, 1.5 hardback books these days. It's worth, I think it's a worthwhile investment to keep, particularly the more valuable would be too strong a word. I don't really have any valuable books, but the more collectible books I want to take care of. I probably won't cover every single hardback that I've got, although I might, because I'm quite enjoying that. It's quite a zen process doing this, actually. I feel like I'm taking care of my babies. Again, a little bit of browning on the top there. Pop it down. Initial crease. Mashing the top crease. It's got loose, steady. Christopher's dust jacket here is a bit feisty. I'll reintroduce the book, that will tell it who's boss. Just want to make sure that's sitting in its crease properly, it's not too bad. Very handsome. That's the book, not me. Can't even see me, how would you know? That's very nice. And this Andre Norton, this Victory on Janus, I found, it's an ex-library book. It's not in 100% perfect condition. But the dust jacket, very unusually, it's a very papery one. It's not like glossy or anything like that, so it's very insubstantial. And often these get absolutely shredded. But with the exception of a little ding there on the edge of the end flap, it's actually, and a bit of bumping to the top there. This is the sort of thing that one of these wraps would have helped prevent. You can see where it's got a bit, I don't know how well you can see that, probably not very. It's got a little bit bumped on the top. But with the addition of a cover like this, that should keep it nice for many years to come. And this was just a charity shop find. I would have paid like £1.99 for it or something. It was not expensive. I don't know if I'm entirely a fan of Andre Norton's work, having read only The Beastmaster, which felt a little bit YA to me, to be honest. But, you know, it's a nice adventure. I think I included it in one of my space opera videos, probably from the 50s maybe, and in hindsight, there's not a lot of space opera about it, really. It's entirely planet-bound. It's more like a planetary romance than a space opera. Having read it, I probably wouldn't include it now. It's essentially cowboys and Indians in space. And to be fair, a lot of space opera is just westerns in space, Star Wars included, but it wasn't really what I had in mind when I was thinking of space opera, in hindsight. You live and learn. There's an argument for not including a book in a video of any kind unless you've actually read it. But if I was to do that, frankly, I'd have to wait about 5 years before I could make any videos. At the moment, my content is a mix of books that I have read, that I'm giving my opinion on, and then books that I haven't, which I do a bit of research on. If they sound good to me, I include them in a video, and then at the next available opportunity, assuming that I've even got a copy, then I give it a read. For me, anyway, it's a good way of finding out more about the genre. God, there's a lot of dust coming off that one. Hopefully those of you that are ASMR minded, you can hear that. Or maybe I'll bring it a bit closer for you. Brushy, brushy. That toothbrush is really filthy now. I must remember never to use it again for cleaning of teeth. So that's gone from being a matte paper copy to being nice and glossy and shiny and well protected. It even feels nice. This wrap, it's quite tactile. And like I've said, I've probably done 15 or 20 books now in total, including these ones, and the size of this roll has not decreased appreciably at all. Now, this book is probably a bit valuable and a bit collectible. It is Hard to Be a God by the Strugatsky brothers, which again, I found in a charity shop. It cost me £2.50 or something. And it, aside from being a little bit browned on the top of the dust jacket, it's essentially in perfect condition. You can pay a few quid for a copy of this. It's quite unusual, I think, to find in hardback. It's an Air Methurin. I thought it might be Cedric and Jackson, but it isn't. It's Air Methurin. It was just sitting there on the shelf, all innocent-like, in a charity shop. That is not something that you see every day. In fact, I went to the same charity shop today and there was literally nothing at all on the shelves. Do for size. Well, sorry, there were things on the shelves, but it was mostly on the science fiction fantasy shelves. But it was mostly fantasy, and the science fiction that there was, I either already have, and thus surplus to requirements, or it was in shitty condition, which wouldn't previously have stopped me. But I'm getting a little bit more discerning in my magpie tendencies, where I just go, "Oh, science fiction book," and grab it, have decreased markedly in recent months. So either they were all fantasy, or I already had it, or they were in shitty condition, or they didn't look like they would be my cup of tea. There was some fairly sort of pulpy looking military science, well, not pulpy, but just kind of generic, that's the word, generic looking military sci-fi, which that I'd never heard of, that I wasn't particularly interested in. So I came away from that little haul, that little charity shop visit, with one book, which is most disappointing. More on that in a subsequent haul video. I did take my camera, so that'll appear, that disappointing shelf browsing will appear in a video, just to prove that it isn't all gravy. That is my normal kind of Aladdin's cave of science fiction in the Oxfam bookshop in Woodley has been a bit of a dry well recently. And whilst I do get quite a lot of envious kind of comments about how lucky I am to have such a resource near me, it isn't always thus. Sometimes there's just bobbins, nothing to be had. So today was a wasted trip for that reason. But you just never know, that's how they get you. If you don't go frequently, then you might miss something like a Strugatsky Brothers first edition. Did we give this one a brush already? I can't remember. Oh, got a state of that, no. Clouds of dust coming off of it. Actually makes my teeth go on edge a little bit, that sound. The book itself is in really nice condition. Often the pages are a little bit yellowed, but not in, or the text block at least, but not in this case. And there we go, that's Arcady and Bryce all wrapped up. It's quite a handsome cover there. I don't know how well you can see that in the glare. I'll try and tilt it. There we go, it's very nice indeed. I've got quite a little pile here. I won't put you through all of it. We'll do a couple more. I'm enjoying the chat, even if you aren't. This is the Sky Lords by John Brosnan, I think, which is not an author I'd particularly heard of. I found it, guess what, a charity shop, not the usual one, a different one in London somewhere. And the top of the DJ here is a little bit bumped, but it's generally okay. It's in the Gollancz yellow jacket, although not the 70s era, the late 80s maybe. Ooh. Yeah, so this one is about, I don't know, it's like some civilization that lives in dirty great big airships. Those are the Sky Lords. I haven't read it yet. Supposedly it's quite good. I remember someone saying when it first appeared in a haul video. That is that edge. Well and truly smashed into a nice crease until, let's even it up a bit so it's centrally positioned in the available wrap. You can buy, and this is what libraries do usually, you can buy like purpose-made covers for books, but then you have to buy a load in the correct sizes because hardback books vary quite significantly in size. So you'd have to get the correct width, and then you have to slot the cover in. It's a bit of a exact match, a little bit more hard work, and presumably they're more expensive as well. Whereas this, per book is I'm guessing pennies. Not sure exactly how many books this will cover, but I would say hundreds. It's so it's not costly. Blimey. That's very dusty indeed. Yes, this one's from 1988. And I wonder, are they still doing the thing that Gollancz used to do? They are, of listing other books in Gollancz on the inside flap there. I don't know how well you can see that, just on this flap here, on the back flap. So this has got, and what always happens when I read this is shit, I really want to get all of these books as well. So you've got, some of them I do actually have, so that's interesting. So Forge of God I've got. In Alien Flesh is a Gregory Benford one, I don't have that. Mind Players by Pat Gadigan, I think I've got the paperback, but I don't have the hardback. There's Mona Lisa Overdrive by William Gibson, but that's worth a few quid now. Paul Macaulay's first book, 400 Billion Stars, from about the same time. The Wooden Spaceships by Bob Shaw, I do have that. And At Winter's End by Robert Silverberg, I do have that. So it's quite tantalising to see those listed in the back there. I would be tempted to, every time I see that, I want to get get the internet out and do a bit of online book shopping. Right, let's do one more. And I'm going to do one of my 3 Heliconia first editions, which are rather lovely, which I paid about £7 or £8 for each. They weren't massively expensive, and you can find them relatively easily in the UK anyway, but it's got quite nice sort of wraparound artwork on the dust jacket. This would have been from the early to mid 80s, I think. 85-ish maybe, 86, something like that. This is the 3rd book, and the dust jacket for this is a little bit bumped on the top. It's not too bad. The wrap will hide quite a bit of that, as well as protecting it for the future. I have just missed with that one a little bit, maybe. Not cut quite enough off, but it'll do. Bottom crease, as it very much were. Bottom crease is what you see if your typical builder bends over whilst working. But in this context, it's simply the bottom crease. There we go, a little pile of nicely wrapped books. A Spinrad, a Yarbrough, 2 Priests, a Norton, a Strugatsky, a Brosnan, and an Aldous. As always, thank you for watching, and until next time, goodbye for now.